Hi guys, welcome back to the second episode of the Howl Hour. Firstly, we just want to say a massive thank you for all the support on the first episode. We really appreciate it. We have a couple of different topics to discuss today. First one being the beta of Call of Duty. Who wants to start?
I mean, I'm more than happy to start. Everyone that knows that I've played it has basically realised that I hated it. I didn't enjoy it at all from the start to the finish. I played a fair bit of it, but I just couldn't get on with it. I like the sniping, as the Black Ops games tend to be quite good for sniping, but other than that, I think it's just going to be rubbish.
Fair enough.
I enjoyed the beta. I enjoyed the assault rifles, but I don't know. I feel like it's going to be zombies this year.
Yeah.
Or for us lot, anyways. Multiplayer it depends what happens when it comes out. I guess it's going to be. It happens every year. The game changes a little bit from beta to release. So, but in the beta itself, I enjoyed playing it. So.
I mean, Danny, you played a couple of games. You played, 2 games at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Around mine. Did you enjoy those games that you played?
Yeah, I actually did quite enjoy them. I thought the multiplayer was quite fun. It didn't feel that much different from Alpha, but I think it was quite good. I think Call of Duty gets quite a lot of stick before it comes out, but I think when it actually gets released, I think a lot more people would enjoy it. But no, I quite enjoyed it. Yeah, it was quite good fun.
I do think that's good though. Like if between now and when it comes out, if it improves, it means they're listening to the people that are playing it. So I think that's a good thing, because a lot of games, in all fairness, like a lot of games, if that was the case, like don't really do that much of listening to the players.
No, unless you're like a high end, unless you're like a celebrity or like a high end person in the game universe, no one really listens to what you put on the internet. So
it just seems to be a running theme with them, though, doesn't it? Because they've done it with pretty much every Call of Duty game. Is they'll do the alpha, people slate it, they'll release the beta, people slate it, they'll change loads last minute, and then the game itself ends up being really popular. So it just seems to be like a recurring theme with the Call of Duty games, doesn't it?
I think it's good though, because like you can't expect a game to be perfect. I don't think any game's perfect, but the fact that they're trying to listen to people's feedback is quite good, I think.
Well, the only thing they're not listening to people about is the skill-based matchmaking, but let's not go into that. That's a whole nother topic. I don't understand. Yeah, I don't know why skill-based matchmaking is a thing in casual games, but it is what it is. That's the gaming scene as a whole, though.
Yeah, especially
one half you got people wanting to have a ranked game mode, but they don't want to add it in.
Yeah.
So that's their kind of like, oh, we're not going to add a ranked game on them, but here's skill-based matchmaking. So if you're doing really well, you're going to come people who else are doing really well. And it's just, sometimes it doesn't really work.
The one thing that I am looking forward to, as you said earlier, Todd, I think this COD is going to be zombies-based, at least for me. I mean, probably us lot in general. It just depends what we all play. I've always been a fan of the zombies done by Treyarch, always. Being the Black Ops 3, I brought all the DLC. Black Ops 2, I brought all the DLC. Black Ops 1, I brought 3 of the DLCs. But it's always very well executed. If you compare it to like Advanced Warfare, the zombies in it it was okay, considering it was their first time doing a COD, and they had they must have had a little help from Treyarch in terms of zombies, but
I would have thought so, yeah.
Even if you look at, what was it, Infinite Warfare, or whatever it was, the one before Modern Warfare for Infinity Ward, they did jetpacks and stuff in the multiplayer, but the zombies was more like Treyarch zombies, but it was just poorly executed.
Yeah,
100%, yeah.
It wasn't great.
No.
I like Exo Zombies on the Advanced Warfare though.
Yes, yeah, they did it. It was very good. It was different, but it wasn't zombies.
It wasn't zombies, but it was different, which is sometimes good. Which that game it was.
But no, the only other thing about sort of zombies and games like that, what about horror games in VR? Could you imagine?
Yeah, we're saying it'd be quite Well, I think it'd just be funny to play zombies on VR, but
I think that'd be terrifying. Are you joking? I
Well,
find it
it'd probably
scary
be
enough just playing it with a PS4 controller.
it might be terrifying when you're playing it, but for everyone else watching, it could be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think it could be quite
It'd be
entertaining.
funny. Yeah.
100%,
Yeah.
There is a game on Steam which is like you hunt ghosts and stuff that's in VR as well. So that might be something that I might look towards, obviously having a VR myself. I know I'm looking to buy it anyway. That'd be quite funny to record if we can all get set up like a night where we all meet up somewhere and play that. I think that'd be quite funny.
In a dark alley to set the mood.
I don't know about a dark alley, but
Hell no.
Do they have Wi-Fi in the dark
Bit
alley?
Cop the neighbour's Wi-Fi real quick.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Can I have your password, please?
Yeah. Knock on their door with a big goggle on your face. Yeah, just need your
Excuse
Wi-Fi.
me. Give
Just
me your
walk
Wi-Fi.
in.
Walk in and just be like, excuse me, can I have the password for your Wi-Fi, please?
The next thing that we was going to talk about last week, but we didn't because Harry hadn't played it, was Among Us. Now, Harry, you've now played Among Us, and I know that you've been watching a lot of Among Us videos. What do you think of Among Us now that you've actually played it?
I think it's amazing. I think it's such a simple but funny game to play. Like seeing people just switch on each other like that is just so funny. But when we within I think 10 minutes, me and you, Josh, had an argument where you killed someone, did a self-report, and was like, "Harry, care to explain yourself?" And I was like, "You having a laugh, mate?" Danny was a bit confused who to vote for.
It's one of Josh's signature moves, that, the old self.
Yeah.
Danny, you didn't vote, did you?
No, he didn't.
No.
I had to beg him to trust me.
And he didn't vote.
I was like, "Please, I promise you I'm not."
I hate being in that situation.
The deciding
It's the
factor.
worst. Yeah, when you've got two people saying it and you've got to be like, got to go somewhere.
They both sound really believable when you're like,
literally.
damn.
But no, it's just a very funny game. But at the same time, it's very frustrating because you're like, if you're not the imposter or something, and someone's like, "Oh, well, you're just being sus," and you're just like, "There's nothing. I'm not doing anything. I'm just going around doing
This
stuff."
is just me.
It's one of those games that you don't take too seriously until you get accused of something, and then you are literally the worst person to be around because you're constantly annoyed because, well, you're not being sus. You're doing tasks, but you're sus to everyone else. I don't understand it.
It's not my fault. It took me 10 million times to swipe the admin card. Like,
Yeah.
I'm just standing there for something. Like, Jesus Christ.
I think it makes people so tilted, doesn't it?
Yeah,
it does.
Especially you, Danny, when you get called out straight away.
That is the worst, though.
Danny, you are the most sus.
It was when
I'm actually not that sus.
Yes, you are.
It was when you were the imposter, and Josh, for the sake of it, was like, "Oh, I say we vote Danny."
Yeah, that's
You've got
what
no
tilts me the
reason
most.
to vote for me at all. And we were like, "But you are the imposter," and he was like, "That's not the point. There was no reason to."
Yeah, it's not the
I
point.
did
It's the
nothing
principle.
To warrant you vote me off.
Didn't even
Even though I
didn't
am the
even call anything. Just
Yeah,
So
I was
funny.
tilted that night. I'll be the first to admit it, but I think a
No,
lot
you're
of people.
tilted
I
every
think it
single
brings
time you
out.
play it.
Well, yeah, but that's not the point.
He's tilted because he goes after people who are grouped.
Yeah. Well, he takes too long and then everyone groups.
And then moans when everyone's grouped, kills someone in front of someone. He's like, "You're all grouped." It's like,
I always make the mistake of killing Danny first, and then Josh and Todd pair up, and they know it's me, and then I'm just stuck because I can't separate them then because they run in a pair.
we don't pair up on purpose, is it? I go electrical, he's there. We run out at the same time because we have the same tasks. It's like,
Next time I'm just going to have to kill one of you first because then you can't pair off of anybody.
If me or Todd die first, it's Nikita.
No, it's not. I'm not sus.
no,
It's Danny.
first. It's fucking it's goddamn Chelsea.
Yeah.
She kept running me around last time.
That was
I just want to be the
hilarious.
imposter now.
So
So I've
annoying.
still not been the imposter. I want to be.
Oh, you haven't been the imposter yet,
You
have
weren't
you?
it once.
No, I wasn't.
No.
No, he
Last
didn't.
time we played, I got imposter. What? Like we played like 15 games and didn't get imposter.
you got it. Who got it like 4 times? Was it Danny?
No,
I got
Danny
it about 4
didn't,
times.
so did I.
I got it
Yeah.
once.
I think we need to
No,
sort
it's
out
very-
another games night. And we need to do probably, well, we'll look into it in the future, like gameplays of it and stuff. I think that'd be quite funny.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. It'd be
That'd
good.
be hilarious.
Raging.
The next thing that I want to talk about is more so games that are up and coming. I know last week we touched on previous games and what we're playing at the minute, and we briefly touched on these two. But I know, Nikita, about Assassin's Creed, you said you literally just watched the trailer, and you actually think it's really good.
It looks fantastic. I mean, I've played very little of Assassin's Creed because it just never really appealed to me when I was younger. But the trailer for the new one, it just looks brilliant. I think it's because it's a different concept to any of the others that have come out before. It looks brilliant. And I think, considering it's been quite a long time since they actually released anything to do with Assassin's Creed either. I mean, how long is it? It's been a good couple of years, isn't it, since they released anything?
They always leave it like 3 years.
Yeah,
4 years.
A damn long time. But it looks brilliant. And I'm actually quite excited to give that one a go. I've never been excited for an Assassin's Creed game up until this new one.
I mean, I probably mentioned it last week. I was going to say last week that I've pre-ordered the limited edition, so I get all the statue and stuff. But when I saw it was the new Assassin's Creed game, I was like, I'm going to get limited edition. Like, it's going to be great. And then I saw it was Vikings. I was like, okay, that's just made my life like infinite times better, because anyone that knows me knows that Viking is my era. That's like, if there was one era that I could be born in, or that's where I grew up, it would be the Vikings. Because they're just the most badass people.
Yeah, agreed.
Todd, what do you think of what we've seen of Assassin's Creed so far? I know me and you watched the Ubisoft Forward. I know Danny was there for some of it as well.
I feel like it's going to be a little more advanced than like Odyssey. Like like Origins like announced like they were going for like an MMO RPG kind of, well, not MMO, open world RPG kind of game.
Yeah.
Odyssey kind of added a little bit more to it, and I feel like Valhalla is also going to do that. It's going to add a little bit more elements, because with Vikings you can do a bit more.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's going to be a long game. I feel like that's going to take me a while to complete.
I feel like they've said something about the length of the game. I feel like they said there isn't as much to do as Odyssey, but there is still a lot to do. Yeah.
Odyssey still takes you a long time, especially when you try and do everything. It takes you like absolutely forever. So
obviously, the one other thing that I am looking forward to in terms of Assassin's Creed is on your raid boat, you get a little cat. I mean, that's just I don't know why it's a cat. I know it's like a Norse it was like a Norse tradition to give people that were married, or the female that was married, a kitten. Don't quite know why, but I don't quite see where that fits into the game. So it'll be quite interesting to see why or how that happens.
You can play as the female character, so I guess.
Yeah, but what if you're the male character? You just don't
get
a cat. No
cat for you.
No cat, yeah.
Well, I'm playing as the female character because I want a cat. I want to raid a village with a cat.
Give me the cat.
I want to raid a village with a cat.
Nah. You have to be a female, man. Simple.
So I'm quite looking forward to that.
Cat. You're all lonely.
Yes.
Effectively. So I'm quite looking forward to that. I mean, that comes out in just over 2 weeks. It comes out on the 10th when the Xbox Series X comes out.
God, is it really that soon until it comes out?
Yeah, Series X comes out on the 10th. It was meant to be the 17th, but they moved it forward because there was, I think it was Halo, got delayed from being a launch game to being early 2021. So Assassin's Creed has been brought forward to match that. Speaking of...
You got COD and Valhalla to come out with the Xbox One X.
Yeah. Well, technically not just COD, because you've also got Cyberpunk.
That looks fantastic.
Comes out 10th as well, yeah.
That doesn't come out 10th. It comes out on the 16th, I want to say. Or the 13th.
Oh, so it's a little bit later.
I'm going to have a look at this, but the next one we were going to talk about anyway was Cyberpunk. So, in terms of next gen, it comes under the Xbox forward compatible, whatever it is, where if you buy an Xbox One game, you can put it into the Xbox Series X and you can play it in 4K or whatever it is, the new thing.
Oh, right.
Which I think is one of the most awesome things. Please ignore the typing. But from what I've seen of that game so far, and the amount of work that's gone into it. I mean, I don't know if anyone here has played the Witcher games, specifically Witcher 3.
I have 3.
Danny?
No, my PC can't run that, so...
You have an Xbox?
I haven't played it, but I've seen gameplay. It's an
I haven't
awesome
got an
looking
Xbox,
game.
no.
CD Projekt Red, which is the company that deals with games, they are very good at the RPG game. They know what they're doing. They're veterans of it. I would actually say that they could quite easily rival Bethesda and outdo Skyrim and Fallout. I prefer their games. I didn't like the Witcher 3 game itself, but the game was made well, but I just didn't like the Witcher setting. So I'm hoping with this being more of a futuristic game, although it's only 50 odd years down the line, it's going to be more of something that I can enjoy. I mean, it's a shooter in a sense, and a Nightcrawler cityscape and stuff like that. So I'm hoping it does well. I'm trying
it looks
to find...
fantastic.
100%. Yeah, what you mentioned earlier about the Xbox, both consoles are done that way. If you buy a game on PlayStation, you can then download it on the next gen.
It's only certain games, and for most of the PlayStation ones, you actually have to pay more.
Yeah,
God,
so PlayStation has to pay
really?
more. Or even if you buy the discs, most disc games, if you buy it on PS4, you can just put it in the PS5.
Yes.
And same with Xbox.
Yes.
Oh, that's so
But
much
if you
better.
buy it on store, because I know with NBA, if you bought it on store, if you paid for the gold edition, you got it on PS4 and PS5.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same with FIFA.
FIFA, yeah. So like certain games you had to pay for the high end edition, but then you got it on both consoles.
So I've actually found it comes out on the 19th.
For like £30.
Oh, so it's quite a bit later.
Yeah.
It's
I mean,
like
even
a
the
week
FIFA,
later.
like I've got the standard edition of FIFA, and it doesn't say anything about paying any extra to get the standard edition on the next gen.
Okay. It'd be quite interesting to see what Sony do, because I know Call of Duty, for example, was I think it was $60 on the PlayStation 4, or it was I think it was only $65 for the PlayStation 4 plus PlayStation 5 version. Yet on Xbox, it was just the one price. It's quite weird to see that they're doing that. I mean, it might change later down the line, but I don't know how it works. So,
well, it's going to be a bit different this year, because with COD, it was meant to be like the pro setting was PS4. Now they've changed it to PC.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Sony did that intentionally, because it was set for PS4 with all the pros and everything else, and now it's changed. It's like, wait, hold on.
I feel it's going to be... Now it's moved on to PC, I think it's actually going to explode. The COD Pro scene. But I think that's all the information that we have on those games anyway.
So we can actually play them at least.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't got long, so I know that I've got the week off or the week off after Assassin's Creed comes out. I've got from the 17th, I think. 17th through to the 21st or something like that. I'll double check. But so I'll be playing Assassin's Creed, COD, and Cyberpunk. So around then we'll have to do sort of an episode on where I give reviews on those as well. The next thing that we was going to talk about was our pet peeves in games or in the gaming industry.
Do you want to mention what Harry wants to mention about the next upcoming game by Harry Potter?
Oh, good point.
That's a good one.
No, and Harry, you've done the most research on this game then, so...
Yeah, so...
What do you think of this game?
The stage is yours.
It looks like... I mean, the trailer doesn't really give much away. It's not coming out until next year. But, even from the trailer, from the games that they've made before, because they made games on the PS3, it looks like there's so much more to it. Like, it's much more of a story mode with the whole
massive
game.
Leap.
Is it a story mode or is it an MMO?
I thought it was an open world.
I thought it was an MMO.
So I thought it was a story. It shows how much I've researched it.
Oh my lord!
But no,
very good researchers.
Looking at the trailer, it looks very, very good. Like I said, there just seems to be so much more to it than any other games that they've had before. The other games I've played before, and they're interesting at the start, but they just get a little bit a little bit tedious at the end because it is, you are doing the same thing. There's not really much different from the first part of it to the next part of it. Whereas I'm hoping that this one that's coming out will be a lot different.
Yeah, no, fair enough. Didn't mean to sort of skip you over there, Harry, but I hope you do forgive me.
I'll see how it is.
So, as I was saying, so the pet peeves in the gaming industry. Now, I know Nikita felt quite strongly about one when we thought about bringing up this topic.
Yes.
So, give us the rundown.
From talking when we thought about this. We thought about this topic, didn't we?
Yeah.
Yes. We all had to take a moment to breathe.
Nikita, do you want to start then?
Oh God, it's just so infuriating. So you're like mobile games mostly is the issue. So they never used to be this bad. It only really seems to be in the past couple of months. Any mobile game you download, you'll complete one thing, and then you'll get 4 adverts come up for it. And they'll be like, right, okay, it might just be because I've just started it. I'll persevere a little bit. You do one more thing, and then 4 more adverts come up again.
Yeah.
It's like, I'm just not even going to bother. So I'll download a game, spend about 10 minutes trying to play it, and spend 8 minutes of that watching adverts, and I'll just delete it. It's just infuriating. Yeah. There's no fun in it anymore. Like Candy Crush, that was massive back in the day, and I don't think there was ever really any advert interference in that apart from the bar at the top. This actually takes you off the game now and makes you sit through unskippable adverts. It's infuriating, so I'm just not going to bother downloading games on my phone anymore. I hate it.
Well, you got to pay 99p to get them removed.
Yeah, I'm not paying 99p on an app that's free. Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, talking about Gone.
Same as me. I used to have like pages on my phone of like different games, and now I just have like 3 or 4 on there.
I've got none.
I play, but because
apart from Among Us,
like you said, you do one thing and then you get an advert, and you do another thing and then an advert. It just takes the fun out of it so much.
It's infuriating. I'd rather not.
Adverts are everywhere. With mobile games, it just takes you out of it. It's like what's happening recently with NBA. I don't know if Harry's noticed this. Is when you try to load up a game, it gives you to an unskippable advert, and it puts you into an ad, like a random ad, and it's not meant to. Like they were meant to add it to like you go into a game, you meant to click on it, but they've put it so when you try and load into something, you get that advert.
That's savage.
And you can't skip it in 30 seconds. And literally the whole community blew up about it, and they've changed it. But it was just something like that where you get like, okay, let me go play like a career game or something, and also bam, you have to sit there for 30 seconds.
I'd stop playing it.
And then for another 30 seconds while the game actually loads, you're sitting there for a minute already going on my phone like that. So
that's bad. You paid a lot of money for that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And there's adverts everywhere on the game. Like you got all the billboards when you go in the game, when you go into the park. There's adverts everywhere.
Wow.
And then there's also adverts when unskippable ones when you try to load in, especially when you pay like what £60-70 for a game. You don't expect it to be an unskippable ad.
That would drive me insane.
Pay an extra 99p and get them removed.
100%. Anything like 2K, pay £10 and get everything removed. Yeah.
Probably.
That's just EA in a nutshell.
And that'll only
EA, 2K in a nutshell. It's sports games, video game companies in a nutshell. Yeah. So what's yours, Danny, then? What's your pet peeve?
Touching on that, I've got 2 things, actually. I want to touch on Nikita's one about mobile game adverts. I don't know if you've all noticed it, because I find it's most of the adverts at the moment are like this. They're like the really like meme adverts where it's like kind of like Mafia City ones where it's like 99% of people can't beat this game. Like those kind of adverts, and it's like, have you seen the one where it's like the pins? You've got like gold coins on one side, and like lava.
They've banned those adverts now.
Yeah,
they've banned
I was just about to say that. Yeah, that's because they've just recently.
If you actually try and play the game, it's nothing like that.
It's nothing like that. It's just a complete rip-off.
Completely different to what the actual advert is.
It's false advertisement, and they can't do that.
Yeah. So that's what made me think of it, because there was that thing recently about they're actually getting removed, which is obviously a good thing because it's just ridiculous, isn't it? It's because there's one thing where the game is nothing like the actual advert. It's just a complete false, like it's got nothing to do with the actual game. But moving on to the other thing I had was EA's in that. It's basically like pay to win games. Like I think like Ultimate Team, Star Wars Battlefront. I just don't. Obviously, there's no fun in it because I'm a bit tight, so I don't like to pay for a lot of the games, especially like the in-game stuff.
It's good you admit that. I'm not gonna lie, it's good you admit that. It's good.
No, I know I am. I don't. If I pay for a game like Star Wars Battlefront, I don't want to have to pay more
to unlock
too much more. Like, there's a few games I might get the battle pass for, but most games, Smite mainly, yeah. But I don't. Yeah, I just think it kind of ruins it. I think it pushes a lot of people away, like casual players that actually just want to play the game. Because I feel like if you have to pay that much, if it's a pay to win game, you've got to be, a casual person. It would put them off. I think. Like, it just it ruins the game.
It's like in FIFA. Like I've just got the new FIFA about a week ago, and I've got onto the Ultimate Team, and you go to play someone, you look at their team, and you think there is no way in hell that you've actually grinded the game that long, get a team like that. All you've done is open packs.
Yeah. Get paid like £100.
You've got loads.
That's what most sports games are now, though. Like NBA, FIFA, Madden. You go on the team and you get all these people like nice packs and everything. It's just they spent like £100 extra on the game just to get all these nice cards.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And you've paid 50, 60 quid for the game as it is, and then you have to pay that much more just to get semi-decent players. It's ridiculous.
But like, it's not even like, oh, you pay £100 and you get the cards you want. You have to open packs, which is technically gambling.
You're not guaranteed to get anyone you actually like. You could end up with 15 of the same person.
And that's why people pay £100 for like the cards and stuff, because if you can get the cards you want, people are paying £20 extra, and that's not good for them. So they pay £100, and then they still don't get what they want.
Yeah.
So,
but there's a difference with NBA and with FIFA. There's actually a difference. So FIFA, they don't match you against a team of a similar ability. So I could be against anyone like at any time. Whereas in NBA, they sometimes they don't, but they try to match you against similar teams.
Similar overall teams,
Yeah. So if you've got like a team full of bronze cards, and then there's a team full of diamond cards, they wouldn't match you together. They try and match you with a team that's got another set of bronze cards.
Right. So they'll purposely match you with people that have like similar skill set to you then.
Yeah.
Well,
similar
overall
cards, yeah.
Which is a good thing for
there's
NBA.
always way you got always like, especially later on like in the NBA games, there's always people who can like switch it so they can get like really good 5 cards and all the rest of their cards are gonna be like dog. But then they'll have like a 77 overall, you go against like all silvers, and then you have to smash them because you have like the best 5 cards in the game.
Yeah, but what they do is they basically trick the system. They put all of their, let's say they've got 5 Galaxy Opals, they put them all on the bench.
Yeah.
They put them at the other end of the team, and then they do the starting lineup as bronzes. And then you get matched into someone who hasn't got a great team, and then you go into your lineup and just switch them all. So there is ways around it, but at least NBA try to match you against a similar opponent, whereas FIFA don't really do that, to be fair.
In most games now, I've always
the way.
I have some sort of microtransaction. So, yeah.
You're right there, Nikita.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
We can hear you. She's just ran away like. I think she forgot we were recording.
Technical difficulties.
Yeah. 100%.
Oh my god.
What's yours then, Josh? What's yours pet peeve?
Mine is sort of a mix of a couple of things. So, where Danny said about pay to win in terms of, like, for example, that one game that I used to play, Game of War Fire Age on the phone. It used to get, when I stopped, it got to a point where you had to spend a minimum of like £50 a month to just catch up to everyone else. and it was just constant. It's worse now. I know someone that still plays it now, and they reckon that most of the top players now spend anywhere between sort of £200 to £500 a month. I'm not being funny. If you have that kind of exposable income, you need to be doing something else with your money.
Oh my god! Buy something practical.
Buy a house.
100%.
YouTubers when games release, like even when FIFA released, and they're all putting videos on YouTube, and they've got like 250,000 FIFA points.
But all these high end people have like given currency by the EA.
By streamers and stuff.
Yeah, it's just like
the other
there's some people that do like £1 million pack openings like NBA, and it's like you're spending thousands of pounds on packs to get like
that's ridiculous.
3 diamonds out of it. It's like
but if you get no real payoff in the end anyway, because it's not even like a physical thing you can actually have.
And the game lasts a year, so you hold that for a year.
The next game
that's insane.
To nothing.
No, the other thing that I was going to bring up was sort of not multi-story endings, but like choices in games where if it's a case of like, oh, you've got 2 choices, like for example in Assassin's Creed, you've got a choice fairly early on in Odyssey. You meet up with your character's, or so you believe your character's father, and you've got a choice to kill him or not. Now, I've played through the game twice. I've played through it once on Xbox where I didn't kill him because I thought, hey, that's my dad, like I'm not going to kill him. And then when I found out that it actually isn't your dad, it's your stepdad effectively, when I played through it on PC, I just slaughtered him. The reason that sort of annoys me is that no matter which way you go through it, it didn't have an effect on the game. Apart from slightly annoying the people, the Athenians, it did nothing. At least I've not found anything that changed. I haven't played much more than that. But pointless choices in game. What's the point of giving me the choice if it doesn't affect it? You might as well have just picked one for me. Like, I don't see the point. It's like spending money in packs. Like, okay, you get something out of that, but when I make a decision in a game, I want it to have an impact, not, oh, the character's just dead now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a little bit crap, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Harry, I know you had one that you were feeling quite strong about.
So I've got a couple of. So, I mean, my first one is like similar to like story modes. Like with NBA, for example, you start the game, and the first bit of it that you have to watch is just so long. And in my head, I'm just like, I've literally just bought this game, and you're making me sit through like 5-10 minutes of video. I want to play the game. That's all I want to do. Just let me play the game. I find that really frustrating because, like, anyone basically is like a kid in a sweet shop and you've just bought a game. Like, you just want to play it. That's all you want to do. You want to go home, put it in, and play it for hours.
You get candy. You have to like sit there for 10 minutes without wrap it on.
Yourself
like, just for you to eat.
It's like putting sweets in front of you and going, oh, I can't eat those for 10 minutes. Right, so I can look at them. It just annoys me.
They look great, but I'm annoyed now.
And then the other thing is like, I suppose you can't really be like, nothing will ever change, but it's like toxic people on games. Like, it's silly because it's got to the point where FIFA have literally taken out a celebration this year because it was such a toxic.
Oh yeah.
Like, there was such a toxic meaning behind it, the shush celebration.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you now, there's nothing worse than being on a, like, you've played the full game and it's 0-0 and someone scores in the last minute and they're shitting you and you're like, you want to throw your controller.
Go away.
And in the back of my head, I'm just thinking there's some 12-year-old that's absolutely just spanks me now, and they're just like, they're just really irritating me just doing this shit celebration.
I mean, that's the worst when you get someone who comes on mic last second and you can tell they're squeaking, and you're like, I've just been thrashed by like a 9-year-old. You're like, what? Or
they send you a bloody
voice message,
a message on the console, and you're just like, oh, get a life. Like, seriously, it's a game. But then in the meantime, I'm like swearing and trying to break my controller in my hands and everything.
Your heart's just been busted into a million pieces by an 8-year-old.
Yeah. just it's the most irritating thing. But like I said, nothing like that will never change. People like to wind each other up. If I was good at the game, would I do the same? Probably, yeah. But it's probably because I'm not very good at it. But yeah, just like toxic people, really.
That's definitely a thing that would be a good thing to talk about, because, yeah, as you said, Harry, that it's not something that will go away. But yeah, I think it's weird. Like toxicity is like it varies a lot depending on the game and like the type of toxicity that you get as well. League.
I was going to say League of Legends, yeah.
Every game,
even back
game.
in like 2013, 2014 when I played it, it was horrific.
Yeah, it's literally every game. Yeah,
every game has some sort of toxicity. You've got like Rocket League with the what a save. You got COD with teabag and shooting bodies. You got FIFA with the celebrations. You got NBA with the pauses. You can name loads of games. They all have a certain way just to annoy you a little bit more when they do something.
I think it's really weird. It's like you've got like Rocket League. It's like what I say. I find that quite funny. I don't find that annoying, but League is like it's different. It's like it actually annoys you. Like it's people actually getting like pissed at you.
Yeah,
like they're threatening you.
People can be
it's weird how there's
such
a difference.
That's why I stopped playing it.
And like Rust as well.
There's always going to be those people who hide behind keyboards and just say whatever they like and do whatever they want. And it's just there's nothing you can really do about it. Like you can report them and they get chat banned and that's it. Like it's forgiven.
It ruins the game for a lot of people, because I mean, if you think there's a lot of people that still play League, considering how old the game is.
Mm-hmm.
But if I know for a fact there's going to be a lot of people like me that will go on play it, and you'll just end up leaving a game being like, why did I bother, and then never play again.
Yeah.
It's just upsetting. It's like, I didn't even do anything. I just sort of don't really know how to play. And then you just get slated by some stranger. Like, oh, thank you.
Even if you do know how to play.
I'm having a great day now.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you know how to play or not.
Similar to what Danny said last week about, I know nobody really enjoys the game, but like with like Fall Guys, the people that cheat in the game and go from one end to the other.
Yeah.
It's like, what's the point?
There's no point in you actually playing the game.
But what purpose does that give you? What are you getting from that? You're getting to the end first by cheating. So what's the point in playing the game if you're just going to not even play the game? If that makes sense.
Just to spite other people, I'd say.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's because they've got annoyed. Most time cheating comes from like they've got really annoyed. Someone's outplaying them in the previous game. Someone's just destroyed them, and they're like, "Nah, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore." And they just turn it on. And just make everyone feel like how they feel 2 games ago because they want everyone to suffer. It's like, there's no point. It ruins the game for a lot of people. Like it's like PUBG or Siege. Like how many hackers you probably ran it, especially when I played on PlayStation high level. How many hackers I ran into? I was like, bro, you're just ruining the game for everyone. Just because you can't play at like the certain level you want to, and you get destroyed when you're trying to. It's like PUBG when they didn't ban any hackers for ages. Everyone got annoyed at the game. Everyone left it, and then they just had a massive ban wipe. It's like, okay, everyone got back on it then.
Yeah.
The other thing that I was going to bring up, sort of Harry sort of touched on it a little bit with the screaming 7-year-olds and stuff like that, is I suppose it comes under toxicity. I sort of agree with that whole point. It's like, especially in COD and stuff like that, Todd, we've had it numerous times on Modern Warfare where people have just hot mic'd, like their mic's just on constantly. They're either straight flat out racist, they're just flat out just being offensive for no reason.
How many times I've been called the N-word on COD, I cannot tell you.
It's mainly COD, isn't it? With like when people like leave their mic on.
It's always like the younger lot as well.
Yeah.
It's always like, you can tell like 14, 12, they shouldn't even have the game because it's 18 and they're sitting there calling the N-word. It's like, what?
Yeah.
Or it's like sometimes you get like the adults and they're sitting there like it's, of course we're playing EU, so it's going to be like sometimes foreigners and they just scream the N-word. You're like, what?
There's one that stuck out for me, that sort of a hot mic episode, not really offensive, was when me, Todd and Danny were playing Rogue Company. And we were loading in, and the guy, what was it he said? Something like, respect my language or something.
Yeah.
He's just like, what are you on about respect your language? We're loading into the game. Like, me and Danny just sort of burst out laughing, and we just hear, respect my language. It's like,
well,
what's
we
the
have
point
a
of
meme, don't we, where we just say like Rush B
that?
as a joke, and it was the Russian guy, and obviously he knew what we were talking about, and he was like, "Respect my language."
Yeah,
just for no reason.
What the hell?
But the problem was none of us were hot micing. It was someone on the other team said something before we loaded in, and that was it. It was like,
yeah.
But no, there's a few things that do bother me in the gaming industry. We've touched on quite a few good ones. I can't really think of anything else. Oh, there is one big thing that I don't like. That's got to be developers that don't listen to the people who actually who play their game. Like, people have brought your game, people have spent money and time in your franchise one way or another, or even if they're spending money in it for the first time. If they have opinions, if it's straight just, oh, your game is arse, fine. That's not constructive. If someone says, oh, you can improve it by doing this, this, and this, fine. I think it was, I want to say Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where they straight up just said to Dr. Disrespect, because he just said all the maps are really bad. He was like, I could do better than this. They straight up flew him out to the studio, and he literally made the next lot of maps. Like, that's good developers in the sense that he can clearly prove he can do it. He said he can do better. He did better. He gave you pointers. Fine. But then sometimes you get COD where people are saying skill-based matchmaking, for example. Make a ranked playlist, put skill-based matchmaking in that, leave skill-based matchmaking out of casual. But they're not.
It was like the proof
it takes the fun out of it.
Yeah. The real point about they're not listening to people is when all the glitches came out in Warzone, like you had the gun glitch, you had this and that, and literally, even the streamers were on that, and just no one listened. They didn't fix it at all. They didn't bother with it. Yeah. And I feel like that's just like when you really look at the company, like as big as Activision were in this game, like how big the company is. When big companies don't fix something that's going to ruin their game, it just proves that they just can't go with it, and it just makes everyone go off the game.
It's the same.
But here's the thing: they've got that mentality. It's like, well, people spend money on the game anyway, so why would we bother changing anything? And it's the worst mindset to be in. I mean, the best example I can ever think isn't even to do with the game; it's to do with the Sonic the Hedgehog film, where they released the trailer and everyone kicked off because it looked nothing like Sonic, and they went back and redid the whole film.
Yeah.
They had to
I
do
love
that,
film.
They? They had
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah,
I still haven't seen
it. Gonna go watch that film.
But they listened to people. They were like, we're not going to bother watching this movie if that's what you actually think represents a big part of, for example, my childhood. I loved the Sonic games as a kid. If they left it looking like that, I never would have watched the film. It's only for the fact that they listened to people and changed it. I think that film's fantastic. And it's so funny. I thought it was brilliant.
I haven't seen it.
It was alright. Jim Carrey carried that movie.
We will watch it.
Touching on games that haven't improved, like it's the same with NBA. There's been a lot of complaints about the new NBA that's come out. I haven't personally played it, so I don't know if it's valid or not. But apparently, it's all pretty much just the same. Like they've not really changed anything. And even like it makes me laugh because last year, on the My Team section, you had there was genuinely a feedback bit on it. Like you could put feedback to them and ask them questions. And I can guarantee there was loads and loads and loads of stuff that was sent through, but they haven't done anything. And it works the same with like the big YouTubers that play that game every day and advertise that game for them. We're literally like begging them to change things before it got released. And like as soon as the game came out, they're doing gameplay, but they're just saying, "Oh well, I'm just playing NBA 2K 20. It's the same as the game before. They've not really changed that much in the last few years. But then like it's like the other end of the spectrum with like Danny, you were saying about FIFA. There's been a lot of complaints about FIFA at the moment, saying that it's a lot like FIFA 15. But my argument is that everyone was saying that the last few games were that bad, like they need to go back to the old games, which is what they've done, and now people are complaining because it's similar to what it was when it was good.
That's a good point, actually.
Yeah.
Good point. Everyone,
people
like,
are never
19,
happy.
20, even 18, like everyone's moaning, like they didn't like the game. They want it to be like 14 and 15. Now they've done that. Everyone's moaning at them. It's like you can only have one way or the other. Like you want them to go back to the old style. but then you moan when they do. It's like
But
that just
I
doesn't
think
work.
that's down to the plain and simple sort of issue that you're going to have no matter what you do in life. You please some people, you can't please everyone.
Yeah.
100%,
Yeah. So
Oh,
I mean,
God,
I've read great comments like from the new FIFA. Like I was just flicking through some before we started filming, and some of them were like, "Oh, this is like just like FIFA 15. I love it. Like these new game modes, type of modes you go on with your friend to play for 15 to 20 minutes, and you end up playing for 2 hours." Like there are good comments, but apparently there's quite a lot of bad ones. But like as I said, like you can't complain about something and then when they listen to it and put it back to how it was, then complain again because it's the same game. But like I do think there are a lot of differences from when it was from 2015. I just think it's the gameplay that's very similar.
Yeah.
Whereas there's a lot more modes and stuff to it. I just think, I just think it's a bit silly to complain about it and then when they listen and complain again.
The review.
You're never going to please everybody, are you?
No. I mean, but the reviews for this one was really the way I found it was on Metacritic, and they did like the user review was I think 0.8 out of 10. There was probably only a small handful of good reviews, and all of them were bad. All the rest of them were bad. I don't know if I agree with what you said, Harry. I think FIFA's like. I mean, I suppose there's only so much you can do with the game, but it is very similar. It is very similar. They all are very similar. It's just that's just what the game is. It's not. I don't know how much they could actually do to make it different because that's just the type of game that it is. But
I feel like touching on Josh's point earlier was, what was the point? The constructive criticism. Like all the criticism I've seen about FIFA 21 is copy and pasted.
Yeah.
It's the same game. Nothing's like, this is the same as last year, and you haven't improved on it. It's like everyone going, copy and pasted. But with sports games, that's the only thing you can do, unless they bring like a whole new engine.
They are going to be similar every year. Like
unless you bring like a whole new engine to it, or like a whole new unless you change the whole game itself, like it's going. And especially when they bring one out every year, it's going to be the same. But you can't expect them to change the whole thing in a year.
Well, not when they've proved that formula works and people are happy with it. Exactly. There's no point in going through all of that.
I mean, the thing with FIFA,
reconstruct it just because I think gone.
The thing with FIFA is they brought in a mode a few years ago. I personally, I don't know everyone else. I personally thought it was a very, very good mode. It was the Journey. Where you play as one
career
player.
Mode.
Yeah.
The storyline for it. Yeah.
And I thought that was really good because it had a start and a finish. Like.
I played that one.
With Ultimate Team, that's just everlasting. With career mode, you can play seasons upon seasons. Kickoff, you just play kickoff. Train like doing the training modes. It's just normal training modes. That actually that was actually a story mode. So it had a start and a finish. So it was something to complete. And I thought that was such a good mode. But they only had it for 2 years and then they took it out.
Probably because it's a lot of work. Now,
I
don't mean it nastily, but sports games, obviously, don't really play them that much. They don't interest me. But sports games, with it being that people were saying, they're changing too much, we need to go back to the old ways. Have they taken that too literally and they've done back? I know they've done other game modes now, which is fine, but are they trying out new game modes thinking that people didn't actually enjoy that part of it? Or are they just thinking it's easier for us to, as a developer, to have the same basic game modes rather than doing a detailed storyline every year? Because doing a story-based game, you have to think about planning out the story. You have to plan out what each character does, what they say. You have to get the voice acting, the motion capture, the animating, the scene. There's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes, because I know quite a lot of that is like based in different areas. It's not just in the same room every time. It's not like, you're in the locker room, you're having a conversation.
Being able to what's it called, like choose options.
Yeah,
that's what they have in the Journey. Like you could do different options. You had 3 different options. You had like an aggressive, an ice, and like a neutral, and that changed the way you got seen by players.
Yeah.
And it's like they had on the second one, they had 3 players that you could use. Like you could go through the journey as 3 different players, and you could switch between players. And I just thought it was very good game mode. Like it's the same with the my career on NBA. Like I'm addicted to that every year. Like I just think it's amazing because you start from the bottom and then you just build yourself up. It's very on NBA. It's very good because you start from. I mean, this year they've started from high school, I think, which is like the first
high school,
time. Because before, I believe, if you're in college, you couldn't make money on your name. It was like an NCAA rule, like in sports. So they couldn't use college, like they couldn't use college as a stepping stone. Whereas you can now go from high school to college to the NBA, or you could start from college, or you could start from going straight from the NBA. Like there's loads of different ways you can choose. And I do think that's good. Like that's completely changed it. Other than that, on NBA, I don't think they've actually changed that much else. But
no, they haven't.
I see what you mean. Like with FIFA, it's probably easier for them to keep those same game modes and just change the layout of them or whatever.
And players popular at the time.
Yeah,
it's just a case of realistically with sports games, the main thing that changes year to year is rosters. Although I know they quite often do updates throughout the season anyway, but that's the main big change. You get probably a different look of the card or something like that in Ultimate Team, or a different menu, and obviously you get
different overalls as well. Overalls change as well, so it's all about that.
And then you also get you get different soundtrack. But realistically, from what I've played in FIFAs and stuff like that before, there's not a whole lot that they can change. One, because football's football and basketball's basketball. If they change something, say, I don't know, they change what they're shooting in, where it becomes a completely different sport. It's not football anymore. If they change the pitch they're playing on to clay or something, okay, it's still technically football, but it's not your typical FIFA. Yeah. I know they have the the FIFA Street mode where you play on all different courts and stuff, but that's not FIFA as such.
No,
I feel like also with sports games you have to kind of balance it between a game and simulation. Yeah. Like you want it to be realistic, but you also want it to have game aspects where you don't run up and down 20 minutes on a court and then you have to go take a break, they want to make it so that you can play the game and it feels like an actual video game, but they want to make it like you're playing football as well, or basketball.
Yeah.
I think just as a last touching point, I think it's unfortunate, but I think a lot of the reviews, probably the ones that you saw as well, Harry, I think it's like a nostalgia thing, isn't it? Like people, and even though it's because people they like remembering old games that they used to play as like a child or whatever. And I think people forget that just because you enjoyed it in the past as nostalgia doesn't necessarily make it good now.
I think on my point, like the last 2 FIFAs, there's always been some. It's not a glitch, but there's always been parts in the gameplay which you can do where you physically can't stop it. Like if you're defending someone, there's a specific skill that someone can do, and you just physically cannot stop it. And I think that for me frustrated me all the time because it's just people not really playing the game properly in my eyes because there's nothing I can do about it. Whereas this new mode, I think there's a lot less of that.
Like forced animated animations, I don't know NBA has that as well. When you do a play or for a screen, your guy will automatically get pushed into the screen even if you didn't want to hit it. So when you go on the online play, your guy will automatically hit that screen and the guy will not use it, and it's annoying because you could read that, but then your guy gets forced into the screen by the game. With FIFA, your guy will lunge at the ball even though you didn't tap anything, and the guy will go past you and I didn't tap anything, so why are you lunging for the ball?
Exactly, and I actually think this game, I think it's actually a little bit harder to play, but I enjoy it more because not so much of that. There's something that you can't control. If you 9 times out of 10, if they scored a goal, it's because you've messed up. You've not done well. To defend it, and that's for me that's more enjoyable because I know that I'm being beaten by someone that's better than me. Whereas, like you said on the NBA, that sort of glitch in that with the screen, you could literally play someone that's been playing NBA for a day, and if they knew that, they could beat you easily because there's nothing you can do about it.
Finishing up towards the whole like pet peeves and sort of rounding up the podcast as a whole. Obviously, we're looking towards the games, or looking forwards to the games that we mentioned earlier this podcast. But in the pet peeves sort of things, is there anyone that sort of doesn't agree with any of the pet peeves? Like, for example, Nikita's ads things. I don't know why you wouldn't agree with Nikita's ads. I absolutely hate the ads that come up, especially when it's like a little small game.
Yeah, on mobile games, like even though ads are going to be everywhere, that's how most companies make half their money is from ads, like getting a group. But sometimes adverts get forced into your face when it's not needed at all.
Yeah.
Like sometimes, like, I understand, like maybe like you like bigger games, you get them on a billboard or a side of a building, you get the advert, and that's fair enough. But like sometimes when there's an unskippable ad, you have to sit there for 30 seconds. It's like there's no need for this.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it either. It's just infuriating.
No. What about Danny's point of play to win, or pay to win? Sorry, you don't play.
Yeah,
to win,
I think that's ridiculous.
I feel like
I do agree with the pet peeve. Like, it frustrates me, but I can understand why
they do it. Yeah, it's just
like,
it's the wrong thing to do, but you can see why they do it.
Yeah,
microtransactions is such a big thing in video games. Like, even if it's not pay to win, it's cosmetics, but everyone pays so much money. Like, you got Fortnite, you got COD. Unless you're buying the battle pass, you're buying skins with lasers, with like the tracer rounds, and just cool skins. That is legit it.
Yeah.
So I mean,
I think
it's going to be every.
Like, the reason why I can understand it is like you get people, like you get big YouTubers that stream just pack openings, and that's how some people get their, like, that's how, like, for some people that's in their mind is, if I go and watch them do their pack opening for an hour, I won't want to open packs.
Yeah,
if that makes sense. Like, that's their, I don't want to say fix, but like that's why
their fix of
it's content for people. Like, people enjoy watching people opening packs, and obviously you're spending money on that. That's sort of where I understand it, but at the same time, it's frustrating when you load up to play a game just for fun and you're against this like ridiculous team.
I don't agree. No, I don't agree with what Todd said though about like the whole buying cosmetics and tracer packs and stuff like that for COD for specifics is like a bad thing, because you don't have to.
I don't think it's a bad thing. But I was just saying, like, microtransactions is going to always be in a game.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I feel like yes, some games are pay to win, and it's like it shouldn't be pay to win. But like, you get games that just constantly have microtransactions, and that's how they get their money. Yeah. So some games they do to pay to win. So like, look, we can't offer you a lot of cosmetics, but we can offer you have better packs or have a better perk. Yeah. Just buy our pack. Yeah.
The last thing that I sort of want to bring up in pet peeves, now I'm surprised no one has said this. I know it's not necessarily, well, it is a peeve of mine, but I buy into it, so I'm kind of a fool. But battle passes. I cannot stand battle passes.
Every game is doing it now.
I feel like with most battle passes, like, you take the Fortnite one, the one who originally did it first place, like, you paid £8, you did all the challenges, and you could rebuy the battle pass without putting any more money towards it.
Yeah,
and I feel like it got people who, you know, Danny, who's really tight. You found out you can only put £8 in this game, and that's all you needed to pay battle pass for a good couple of years, because he gave you the money back, and you also got the nice skins, you got the nice emotes. You're like, you know what?
It's incentive.
Why not? If I'm gonna play this game for the next 2 years, you know, I might as well put a little bit of money to it. You're not going to pay £20 for battle passes for like over 4 seasons because it doesn't give you the right money.
But the issue with that is that you have to put, say for example, I said this to Danny a couple of weeks back. When I had at one point I had the COD battle pass on the go, I had the Smite battle pass on the go, and I had the Rocket League battle pass on the go. I had 3 games that I needed to play, but you need to play it so much to earn the money back from it that it becomes a point of it's more of a chore. I remember once, Todd, I sat up, you might remember this, I sat up until nearly 4 o'clock in the morning because I wanted to get enough COD points to pay for the battle pass. Now, did I regret doing it? Yeah. Did I have to do it? No, but I wanted to because I didn't want to spend that extra. I had to spend, I think it's a minimum of like £4 on COD. Like, I know £4 isn't a lot, but £4 is a lot when I could have just played it that little bit more and earned it. I suppose it's an incentive to play it, but when multiple games have that, it's more like, which game do I want to play more?
Because like, you wake up and you're like, especially when you come on for work, you're like, I want to play COD, but I have to do the Rocket League Battle Pass. But I want to play COD. Or I want to play this game. You're like, I need to complete the Battle Pass, otherwise I'll have to spend an extra £7 on this game. I don't want to do that. It just repeats itself.
It does what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, it makes you play the game more. It makes you do the challenges.
Yeah.
Or with some people, it makes you put more money into the game, so then you get up those tiers.
Yeah.
So,
Did they have anything like that before? Before Battle Passes? Was there anything like that? I feel like there might have been something, but it was so long ago. I don't think they had anything like that.
I don't think there was anything like it was like challenges. I feel like you could buy challenges. I think it was the old.
The only thing like that sort of thing that I can think of is Black Ops 2, when they had the Peacekeeper SMG / I think it was a hybrid gun. You could buy that as a part of the DLC pack. You brought the map pack and you got it. That was the only other thing. Other than that, it was a case of if they add a new gun, everyone gets it, or no one gets it, and you have to buy it.
Yeah. I feel like last thing, I don't know what game it was, but it was a game where you could buy challenges to get levels up, but it wasn't like a battle pass. But you paid like 300 in-game currency, which you had to pay for, to then unlock these challenges to like level up your character.
Right.
But you had to pay for these challenges to get more experience with it. So I feel
Probably
like
Raid Shadow Legends.
The closest.
Probably Raid Shadow Legends.
I feel like that's the closest thing I remember. I've never played that game. Never got to install it. Never. So
you will do if they sponsor us.
Yeah. I was about to say our sponsor.
Then you have.
If you're watching,
it's a sick game.
I genuinely have it installed, so I'm not talking crap.
If it's got adverts, I ain't downloading it.
No, I think that pretty much rounds up our second episode, unless anyone's got any further points to add.
Oh, like and subscribe.
Raid sponsor us.
Raid sponsor us.
Like and subscribe.
The only, well, I suppose the one thing we can do, last week we said about comments in like people's favourite games. I think this week we should do people's pet peeves. So if you have any
leave
pet
all
peeves,
the comments you would like. They are greatly appreciated.
Yeah. So other than that, I hope you all have a good rest of your week. It's coming up to the weekend now, so everyone have a good weekend, and we'll see you again next week.
Don't party too hard.
No.
Don't drink too much alcohol.
I agree.
Don't social distance party in groups of 6 too hard.
Yeah.
Get hammered.
No raves. No raves. You know, we want to get out of this lockdown alive, not having to spend 2 more weeks in it.
I'm gonna do my joke.
Oh, good point. Just
then.
before we
Go
go,
on,
Harry is going to do. I don't know if we're going to make it a regular thing, but I think we should. I think this is quite a good thing. Harry,
let us know if you want to keep it in.
Yeah, let us know.
To the podcast, really.
Harry's going to do a dad joke of the week. So when you're ready, Harry, the stage is yours.
So this week's one is what's a ninja's favourite drink?
Go on.
What? That's my Harry.
I'm so ashamed that I laughed.
Mate, he's actually got a little jingle.
Someone make a theme song now. Yeah, we need to make one.
We need a proper intro.
We do need a proper intro. If anyone knows anyone that can make a proper intro, or that can make anything like the Harry's little jingle, please just either DM me or Harry or on Instagram or Snapchat, or not Snapchat. None of us have our Snapchat on there, but any of our socials below in the description. Please just contact us and we'll look into it with you and see what we can do and see what we want. But other than that, we'll see you guys next week.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.